If you're just now tuning in to PUV Radio Show, like I said previously, and you missed it, we play around a lot on our show, but we play around on real topics, real issues, real life situations that we deal with.
Absolutely.
And it's also important for us, voices, media voices, people that actually provide a platform for others to voice their opinions and express their opinions and have talents that we try to showcase as well. It's important for us to speak on serious topics such as what's going on around us right now, and like you all should be aware of, there's a serious issue going on in Ferguson, Missouri. Like serious issue that is not anything new, but it's a situation that is so I guess, what's the word I'm looking for?
It's so relevant and recurring. It's consistently being thrown in our faces.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, not only that, but
and the pot
I guess
is
the
finally.
way that I want to go with it is that it's not something that's just happening.
It's
but
been
because
happening.
it's so severe at this point and it's so consistent.
The pot is finally starting
It's
to
starting
boil
to
over.
boil, and our people are fed up to the point where we're retaliating violently, just like in the '60s, just like back in the day.
Just like at the Watts
when
riots.
when that was the only way that we were able to get a point across, which only resulted in a number of our own deaths and other issues. So what I wanted to do while we have him here, Davon, if you want to introduce your guest that we have here tonight, he's actually did you say correction? It was corporal, right?
He's a corporal.
He's a corporal for the Prince George's County Police Department. I think it's important to get his perspective as a black police officer in a time where we have so much going on and police are definitely under the radar, I guess you could say, for being negative targets, for being a threat to our people. Is that fair? For what's going on right now, is that fair for you? I mean, you're here. I want to respect you as our guest, but
I would say this, and correction was with the sheriff's office of Prince George's County, but let me say this. It's very easy to start out. It's very, very easy to always go back and Monday morning quarterback people's actions.
Okay.
Even from an officer standpoint. It's easy to go back and say what they woulda, shoulda, coulda done. The thing with Ferguson is a lot of us weren't there at the time that this occurred. And it's easy to say what shoulda happened, what coulda happened. And when you look at the demographics that's down there, when you see 57 officers on the department, only 3 are black, and the predominantly of the city is 67% black. Anytime you have something like that, immediately you're gonna say it's a race issue. The same weekend that occurred, you had 25 people get shot in Chicago and nobody write about that.
Right.
Then you had just right here in Washington D.C., you had 2 3-year-olds get shot.
Right.
Nobody write about that. So it's easy to grab the topic of where it's dealing with race. And I'll give you for myself. I'm from Prince George's County, grown and raised. When I grew up and I started driving, you got pulled over, eyes was forward, hands on the wheel. You already knew you was probably going to get pulled out of the car. You was probably going to get your car searched. That's just, you just knew what to and what not to do when the police approached you, stopped you, and so forth. And I've been harassed by the police. I got pulled over. They pulled me out of the car, asked me to search my car. I said no. They did it anyway.
Right.
And so I understood and I understand when a lot of people feel, man, every time I get pulled over, I'm getting harassed. And for me, growing up, I was always somebody that liked to help people. And for me, it kind of got to the point where if you can't beat them, you got to join. And I like to help people. And in my line of work, I worked in the courthouse, which what we mainly do. Then I went to the schools. So I got a chance to see the youth up front. You try to help them, you work with them, you mentor them, so forth and so on in the high schools. And then I went back in the courts where I dealt with a lot of cases that dealt with officers being charged, murders, robberies, carjacking. So I seen the whole bit. And now that I'm back on the street, it kind of makes me understand what to and what not to do and really think about what you're going to do before you act, because we are one decision away from being behind the bars.
Yeah, true.
And a lot of people don't realize that. And now that I'm back in the schools and I'm on a middle school level, I'm mentoring the kids and I'm really talking to them on conflict resolution, how to make good decisions, how to react when the police do approach you. Because another story that came up was a kid that was on a dirt bike and the mother claimed or a relative claimed that was the minute he seen the police lights, he took off and ran. why
Are you talking about Amir, who was recently killed?
I don't remember the boy's name, but I remember.
Yeah, that's Amir. That's actually a friend of mine, Pam. Her
Right.
son was on a dirt bike and was chased by police.
And the story I read was the mother said, well, he must have, when he seen the police lights, he must have got scared.
Mm-hmm.
What is it to get scared of if you're not doing anything wrong? And I understand.
But police are really, it's a law though. Like police are not supposed to chase bikes, correct?
There's a no chase. There's a no chase, and you will get a chase if it's crimes against people.
Right.
So let's say, for instance, somebody's car is parked in the gas station and somebody comes and snatches the purse out and run, and the officers see the car, they're not going to chase it. But if you have a murder that just took place or you have an actual carjacking that just took place, most times there will be a chase until a supervisor will come over there and say, cut off the chase. Because I've been in chases myself where they said cut off the chase when it was a purse snatch incident. And as an officer, you like, no, I need to get this dude. Your adrenaline is so high up that you like, no, I need to get this guy. And sometimes you don't know to just shut it off or shut it down. And then a lot of times once you might get the individual, some officers may go over the top. And I understand there are good officers, and I understand there are a lot of bad officers, but there's way more good officers than bad officers. And a lot of times when you see so much negativity, that's what people, that's all they tend to see. Whereas I'm in the school every day working with little kids, mentoring little kids, but that doesn't get seen. You automatically see, oh, the officers in New York choked this guy out and he died. The officers chased a kid on a dirt bike. The officers down in Ferguson who shot the kid. It's so much, people are quick to gravitate to the negative and don't look at the positive. And there's a lot of officers doing a lot of good things out here that don't get documented because they look at it as that's what they're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, a lot of times we get looked at as we have to be your lawyer, we have to be your minister, we have to be your parent. we wear so many hats. I mean, we come onto the scene of a domestic, they expect us to solve something that really would take place in court that could take months. And sometimes it might just be best to listen, we got to have the best, what they say, verbal judo to be able to calm the situation down without escalating the problem.
Right.
And it's not always easy, but we human. We try to do the best we can.
Can I, just to kind of interject a little bit, can you, well, I know you definitely can, you're a human being, but can you understand why it becomes such a much bigger deal, the negative shit that police officers do opposed to the positive things when you guys are in a position of being the people to help us?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? You kind of can't sweep that stuff under the rug, like the officer that shot the kid, the officer that chased, Amir and you caused him to crash and die. You know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff can't be. And I get there are great officers. I know there's good in everybody, and not in everybody, but there's good in every situation. But there's also bad in a lot of situations.
Absolutely.
And because police officers are in a position to be the ones to help us, we're supposed to be able to go to police officers when we're in trouble, not to be in a position of fearing them or worrying about them being the cause of our deaths, our wrongful deaths.
You're right.
At the end of the day.
Right. And I could take it even when you look at parents that have little kids. What they always say when they see a police officer come around, you keep doing that, I'm going to tell the police officer on you. So little kids growing up look at the officers as, oh, they only there for bad. And I hate when people do that. Don't say, oh, I'm gonna tell the police officer on you, because now you making a kid look at every time you see officer uniform is based on something he's doing that's bad. And like you said, you can't overlook the negative that's out there because it is out there. But I'm just saying.
The thing is, and I don't want to overtalk you, but the thing is, it's just because it's not like a slap on the wrist type shit. They're like kids that are dying. You know what I'm saying? So it's a really big deal. So it's not something that we can just say, yeah, they bad, but it's a lot of good ones. You know what I'm saying? Right. But the bad ones are killing our kids. You know what I'm saying? So it's a big fucking deal. Like it's serious. Like, and I have 2 teenage boys. So I'm always telling them, y'all see, I'm in the position to tell them now, y'all see police, walk the other way. Instead of, not feeling like you're safe when you see a police officer, and go in that direction and carry on with your life type shit.
Now let me flip it this way. Do you think more officers kill kids or more black youths kill black kids?
Right now, where we standing, we about
you think it's even?
We about even right about now.
If you Nah.
No, I mean, listen. From a standpoint of not know, you don't know. This is the thing. You don't know what a police officer is mentally going through at that given moment. You understand what I'm saying? Where your child is outside. But I know my children play outside in my neighborhood regularly, and nothing has happened amongst, with their male friends and black men in the community and Spanish men in our neighborhood.
Right.
But I would feel like they would have to be more, concerned about a police officer rolling up on them and, being out of pocket for whatever reason, just because it's a profiling type thing going on.
That's one neighborhood out of thousands.
You're absolutely correct.
Out of thousands.
That's
You're correct
Very
on that.
true.
Right. Absolutely.
And I look at it like this. I can't sit back and tell you why some officers do the things they do. I can tell you what I do. And my thing is, I'm out here to help individuals. I'm out here to better individuals. Me, I'd rather discuss my way out of a situation rather than first thing I'm doing is pulling out anything that's on my belt. And a lot of times officers get themselves into a worse situation because they don't know how to communicate with people.
Mm-hmm.
You have to know how to communicate with people. And for me, being that I've had to go into the jail and transport prisoners, things like that, I want to give prisoners or anybody that is the same respect that I want. I'm going to give you the same respect that I expect you to give me. Now, when you take it to another level, then I got to take it to another level. But on a day in and day out basis, I don't look at me being in uniform or me carrying a gun or a badge making me any better than anybody else. I'm just like everybody else. I just have a job to do. And it's a lot of people out here that hate officers for whatever reason for doing the job that they have to do. And a lot of times, a lot of things could be handled if, and I'll just give you a prime example when I'm in the schools. You have kids that say, well, this teacher's always getting on me, this teacher's always getting on me. And I say, okay, first things first, the bell rang. Are you in class? Well, I be late sometimes. Okay, is it warm up? Are you doing the warm up? Nah, I just be in the back talking. Okay, well, you got two problems with it. You cause that making you hate this teacher. The teachers there to do their job. If you get to class on time and do your work, everything else wouldn't come. So a lot of times that happens the same thing in the street. I'll be honest with you. Kids sagging, I can't stand that. But in some places it's the law, in some places not. So if you got an officer that knows the law in that particular town, they tell you, listen, you need to pull your pants up, or they gonna pull you, I'm gonna give you a citation, and then you start bucking back. Well, if you do what you're supposed to do, you're not gonna get the officer that's gonna be coming at you sideways. Now, don't get me wrong, there's some officers that might pull people over and look for stuff.
There definitely are officers that,
like I said, I got pulled
intentionally pull people over to look for shit.
I got pulled over when I was young, and I had my car searched, and they didn't find anything. And at the end of the day, if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, search my car. I don't care, because I'm not hiding anything. But if you got stuff to hide, then should you be carrying that?
Right.
Should you have that? Those are some of the things you got to worry about. I'm not one that look at that type of stuff, but you do have officers that do.
Let me ask your opinion or your perspective for two specific cases. Number one, what's going on in Ferguson with Mike Brown, and also with Amir with the no chase situation. So let's real quick. Well, let me ask you your perspective on the no chase situation, because that is a law.
It is. Amir's situation was a little different, though.
Well, in what sense?
Because reading back into the story, the police called him on a bike, and he ran, and the police chased him, but they chased him outside of county lines into D.C. because his accident was in D.C., so that's what the whole... Aside from the fact that he chased him, which he wasn't supposed to do, but you chased him outside of your jurisdiction, ultimately putting him in the position that he was in when the bike crashed and everything happened. So that's what that's what the really big debacle is. So not only did you chase him, but you chased him outside of your jurisdiction. Right.
So from a police officer standpoint, sir, do you feel as though there was probable cause? Was the police officer in the right for doing so? And I'm asking this because at the end of the day, the end result of that was a 17-year-old boy killed.
Correct. Again, it's
that he didn't rob anybody, he didn't shoot anybody, he didn't stab anybody prior to, there was really no reason for the police officer to chase him, especially with a no chase law.
Okay, let's do the flip side to it. You live in that complex. It's your bike. You know it got stolen. You call the police. The police come. They got the description of the bike. They know the bike is stolen. As it being your bike, would you want an officer to go get it? Not knowing the end result. You want your property back.
True shit. True shit. No argument
So
there.
is that the fact of the case?
That I can't tell you the fact of the case. 'Cause
Right. So like
I wasn't there. I haven't read the case, Jack. It hasn't gone to trial.
So I'm saying, are you kind of saying that
Let me say this.
he was
No,
being chased because the bike was reported stolen?
I couldn't tell you that.
Okay.
'Cause
So I just
the
want to
only
know. I'm
way-
only asking that because I want to speak on actual factuals, just because I know his mother's listening right now.
Right. And
I know that Pam is tuned in right now, and all respect to her. Our loves and prayers and condolences are to you right now, Pam.
Absolutely.
So I hope, please, that you don't take this show disrespectfully. I'm just trying to get answers for you as well, and I think it's just as important to you as it is to us. Just to get clarity on the issue, because we lost another one of our young soldiers out here.
Absolutely, and I agree with you, but I think I would be out of line to say the officer should he have chased per their general orders. It's probably, from what I can know, it's a non-chase situation. Now, could the officer have hit his lights and the guy took off and he turned his lights off and followed him and he's still looking over his shoulder? Could have happened, but I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that officer had every right to chase, and I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that officer didn't have a right to chase, because I was not there. I don't know the particulars to the case. Do I think is it justified?
I don't mean to cut you off, but just to clarify, is it legal? Is it legal for them to chase people on bikes?
Not for a stolen bike, no.
So then there was really no reason for that officer to chase him on a bike, because it's not legal.
Per
Period.
law, yes, but
Right.
I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna say and second guess the officer, because I wasn't there. So I'm not gonna.
No, and that's fine, but that would make it more of a personal issue opposed to him abiding by the law as a man in uniform of the law, because he was disobeying the law by chasing that young man on the bike, because he wasn't supposed to do that. Correct?
If the chase was over him seeing the bike and they fled, then yes, per their general orders, that would be a no chase policy.
Okay. I just wanted to clear that up,
Right.
and be clear on that.
So let me ask you this: like on your day to day, because I know you say you go to the schools, you mentor the youth, and you're not like on the regular beat, patrolling and stuff like that. Do you feel in jeopardy, or do you feel like your safety is compromised on a daily basis when you're doing your job?
I think every day that you put on a uniform and you ride in a marked police car, you have to keep your head on a swivel, because you just know there's people out there. They don't. It's not that it's something personal against you. It could be something personal against that uniform that you wear. I tell you now, I go and I interact with youth that have no respect for me in the uniform. I can with gun badge and all that, and they might look at me and be like, whatever. And at the end of the day, when it comes to when it's youth like that, I take it back to a training that I went to when I first got into working in schools. It's all about parenting,
right?
And it's that's really the gap. It's a lot of times the youth are being raised by the streets and not by their parents, and then what happens is you have that disconnect, and they think that the street cred is maybe getting locked up or going to jail. Some kids be like, I don't care if I go to jail, my friend's in jail. Me, when I grew up, I'm scared and petrified to go to jail.
Yeah.
But
I hate to cut y'all off.
Yeah.
I hate to cut y'all off, but thank you for calling PUV Radio. Who is this?
Hello?
Hello?
Thank you for calling PUV Radio. Who is this?
What is Felix calling?
Where you calling from, homie?
Huh?
Where you calling from?
I'm calling from D.C.
Okay.
What's your views, man, on the Ferguson case, and do you got any questions for the
Police
officer?
brutality, anything? What's going on?
What's your view?
Oh, yeah, man. I just wanted to say, I just left a meeting, and a lady from Ferguson who actually came out, who was down there involved in protesting and things like that, she was at the meeting, and she talks to us, and she says that, you know what I'm saying, there is no violence coming from protesters down there. All they're doing is being in the street, and the KKK is down there with those people, and the military, not the military, but the cops down there. They're the ones shooting. They're the ones throwing the tear gas and things like that. And what they do is they clear those people out the street, and all they do is go back after all the bullets, all the rounds have been shot. They just go back into the street. So it's not those people down there shooting at cops, being civilly disobedient and things like that. Well, it is civilly disobedient, but they're not down there shooting at cops and causing all this ruckus. It's the opposite way around. Those people are getting shot at. It's like a fucking purge going on in Ferguson.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why people aren't acknowledging like the fact, like the KKK is down there and they're raising funds
for that officer,
for the cop who shot Mike Brown. So it's about knowing your rights, man. Like, it's not about, you know what I'm saying, justifying whatever the fuck these cops is out here doing. My thing is, if you are a police officer and you know that they're out there doing shit that is illegal, then what you still got your uniform on for? You need to be standing up for if you're doing injustices against your own people, we need to have more pride than that. Instead of going out here every day saying the same shit, doing the same marches, saying that, well, the police might not be wrong about that and this. Like, that don't make no sense.
So what about the reports of like people throwing Molotov cocktails and shooting at the police and all that?
Yaya told me that the Molotov cocktails are being supplied to the dumbasses down there who are just coming just to come and throw some shit. She was like, the people who are supplying the Molotov cocktails is the police officers. The police are the ones doing the shooting. People aren't down there. The real protesters aren't down there shooting anything. They're just in the streets. And they're always being cleared out. Yaya told us even how to deal with the tear gas. They're hiding behind cars out there. They have
they're out there with like gallons of milk.
Yeah, like they're out there hiding behind cars. And it's like, you have to make sure that, she said you have to make sure that nobody's in the car that you're hiding behind, because it could be the fucking KKK. And I'm like, what type of light? And like, she's going back, you know what I'm saying? And like, they're marching the Gallery Place on Saturday. But like, that's a first-hand account of what's really going on in Ferguson. Yeah, and it's not what the media is telling you, because the media is lying. They're putting bold-faced lies on the television. Them people not doing nothing.
Now, I can actually, it's funny you said that, Felix, because I getting my stories from what's really going on in Missouri from people that are over there. They're saying a lot of the same things, and a lot of stuff that isn't being televised is the fact that the people that are out there peacefully rallying and things of that nature, I mean, I guess there's levels to peaceful, whatever they call it, but literally there's no violence against the police. And there's no, the people aren't out there hurting, each other. You know what I'm saying? They actually have come together to try to just kind of be a form of power. You know what I mean? But amongst a line of people with shields and guns and tear gas and everything else, they're only but so strong. You know what I mean? When they're coming in full force and they're cornering people and they're locking them down. I mean, to the point where you have rival gangs. I saw some footage earlier today where they have rival gangs, Bloods and Crips, that are standing outside of stores and outside of businesses just to keep looters from damaging parts of Missouri. Like, that's somewhat of a big deal that's not being televised. You know what I'm saying? Because that is more of the people coming together, opposed to what the media is showcasing. It's like people are coming at the police and this is why they have to use this force. And that's not true. That's not the truth.
And another thing I saw on the TV today, I was watching the news, and the news said that like there were several people shooting at cops today and throwing tear gas and all them other bombs and stuff towards the cops. And like Yaya just told us that was not going on. So my thing is, like, they're putting direct lies on the television, and this is where we get our information from. So we have to really, like, there has to be some other form of communication besides this, like, propaganda and shit that's keep getting us in the same hole, man. Because my thing is, we get our information from the TV, from the media, or whatever other source your information, but it's all being controlled by that same source. And my thing is, you really think they're going to put the truth on the TV, you know what I'm saying, after, you know what I'm saying, like, you know what I'm saying, the revolution is not going to be televised, so we're going to have to be doing something else other.
No, like, you're good, baby, because we all frustrated, and we all have our views and opinions, so it's important that, we hear different sides of the story, so it's all right, be frustrated. It's okay to be frustrated.
And this is the thing I think about, right? Like, you have, different sides to a story, right? It's obvious you have a criminal element out there that's looting, agitating the police, doing whatever they got to do because they pissed off. That's obvious. That is there. There's no doubt that there's going to be some niggas that's in the streets acting a fool because they have an excuse to, right? Then you got the police side of it where they're trying to keep shit under control, but there's
they're not really doing that, though.
There's some overzealous cops that's, again, looking for an excuse to act a fucking fool. And then you got the peaceful protesters that have no violent intent, and they just want to get their story heard and stuff like that.
Those are the ones that are being attacked.
If you look at all three parts to it, I mean, it's like an explosion, and the media is not going to show a positive spin on it because they sensationalize every fucking thing. Right. I mean, whoever knew about the media reporting some shit that was calm? The media's job is to sensationalize shit and show all the negative aspects of any given situation so that people will tune into the station, get ratings, whatever the case may be. That's their job.
Yeah.
That's why they put their lives in jeopardy, because they want to get the story. Not the true story. Fuck the truth. It's whatever story
It's
side
gonna
of it
keep
that
you
they can
scared.
tell that coincides with their agenda as a media platform. And I'm gonna tell you like this.
Exactly right.
Until we have black media stations, like not little bullshit people with a handheld Canon 5D. I mean a real media station that's owned and operated by black individuals, we're not going to get our side of the story told. Period.
Word life.
It's not going to happen.
quick-
Just like you got President Obama, that's a black figure. He's the president, but the dude has no power. He's just a fucking
Puppet.
a scapegoat, a puppet. Yeah, absolutely. People say, well, President Obama needs to fly down here
And
do
that's funny you
his
brought
thing and
that up,
speed
because I wanted to ask people's opinions, because President Obama was actually there yesterday and he made a speech from there. I don't know if you all heard it, but I sat in the car with my teenage sons and we listened to it. And I was actually a little bit insulted. It was funny because, I was one of those people that stood in line for hours, both terms, you
Listen.
know what I'm saying,
Listen.
to make sure Obama stayed in office. And that speech was kind of like one of those slap in the face type things where you were just like, oh, no. Like you waited after everybody chewed your head off about, well, what's Obama going to do? What's Obama going to do? When you finally had the mic, my dude, like that's where you went.
Because
with it.
if you think about it, since Obama got elected, everybody was saying that, at first when he first came out, they were saying that, he's an angry black man because of whatever his preacher said and all that other bullshit. So since then, he's adapted a nonchalant policy to pretty much everything. You never see him excited. He's always docile. He always says some political statements and shit. He don't try to ruffle any feathers because, like my man said on the line, he's a fucking puppet. Same thing with the Missouri Highway State Patrol. They chose this dude for a reason. One, because he's black. Two, because he's articulate, and they gonna put him as the face of the police. He's not the fucking face of the police in Ferguson, like my man, like the officer on deck just said. It's like a 3% black percentage in the police department. Most of them are white. So how the fuck is this one black dude who has the articulate glasses and speaks so articulately a face of the fucking police? He's not. He's a fucking puppet. He's a spokesperson.
Who are you talking about?
The Highway
Johnson?
State Patrol.
Well,
the dude that's speaking.
not necessarily a spokesman or like you said, but it was. I thought that he did a better job than our president did as a representation of a black man wearing a uniform who was disgusted by what his colleagues had did to that young black man when he made it clear that my son does the same shit that young man did. He's a teenager. He wears his pants sag and he wears his hat to the back and he has tattoos. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, does that makes him a target automatically?
No,
and he's a man of the law. You know what I mean?
I'm not disputing what he's saying. He's saying some good shit, but what I'm saying is there's a reason why they allowing him to speak. They saying basically get your people and calm them down.
But he's not doing. That's the one thing that he's not doing. He's standing on a podium saying, "I'm out there with y'all. I'm with y'all 100%."
Right, but what he's saying is he said he wants
for.
everybody.
That's the point. Like that's what Obama is there for. Like
no, not Obama. We're talking about the highway patrol.
The other cop.
But he's saying he wants everybody to be peaceful. They put him on that podium for a reason to get everybody to calm the fuck down.
Right, he stayed.
That's his job.
I was going to say,
Go ahead,
I think that we should stop looking. I think black people as a whole, we've been during this process looking up to or trying to, wait for some black person in a position of influence to say something motivating or something that's going to change something. It just hasn't happened. Like we're waiting for Obama. Obama's not a civil rights leader. He's the president of the United States.
Correct.
Black and
Absolutely.
white people,
Correct.
Absolutely.
Latinos, and every other American. So you can't look to Obama as if he's going to resolve something. He has to be. He has to have those contained responses. He has to have those, non-offensive, angles in how he speaks.
Non-confrontational.
Non-confrontational. So that's not what black people want to hear. And then on the other side, okay, now you got Obama, then you go to Jesse and, the ambulance chasers with, Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson, and that doesn't give you any other better feeling. So I think, and as a whole, we have to stop looking for leaders, and that's, a part of what, we do at YBM is, young black men need to start becoming those leaders that we've been looking up to or trying to look up to. You know what I'm saying? Become those leaders. Continue to change the perception. I run We'll Rap for Food, CEO of that organization, nonprofit, and a lot of people came up to me after this Ferguson issue and said, "Hey, Pro, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do?" And I was like, "Well, we're gonna do what we've been doing. We're active in the community at least once or twice a week. Right. You know what I'm saying? We're actually doing something to change the world around us. We're not complaining only when tragedy occurs. Right. So I think, the real burden lies on the people to get off of their asses and stop, only focusing on things when it's relevant to their timeline, irrelevant in the news. Stop worrying about what the news is talking about. Let's change the news that we know exists in the real world. Let's really touch our own community. So I'm not really concerned or surprised by, Obama not saying anything moving or, them putting a cop in a position to try to calm down the people, just like they did with Nelson Mandela when they pulled him out of jail. It's the same concept. History
Do you
repeats
think
itself.
that's not kind of like, and I understand your position because, you're very literal and you're very, knowledgeable of politics and things of that nature. But I guess generally speaking, can you understand why it's such of a setback, I guess, for our people, for him to be the first black man in a position of running our country, and his voice to be so weak to the point where
all presidents' voices have been weak.
Yay and nay, but
every president's voice who hasn't been weak has been killed.
You know what? On so many levels, many levels, that's very accurate. No, you already know. Keep it 100. On so many levels, that's real. But I'm saying, okay, Grant, let's play a game. Okay, if you were given a position or the opportunity to become the president of the United States, how would you use your position of power?
I'd be dead.
Would you be a puppet?
I'd be dead.
Right. So what I'm saying is, are you
Everybody's
not at all?
like
are
that.
you not at all surprised from the response from the African American community based on the role that our first and only black president has played
black people
in this
are
type of situation?
for anything. That's what I'm surprised at. That we are unifying and standing side by side and fighting for a cause longer than 2 days.
That's sad. It's real,
serious.
but
Yeah,
it's
you know
sad.
what?
We built the monster.
That's true.
You feel me?
It's sad though.
I read an article that we nowadays are like a hashtag society. Like we jump from subject to subject, from issue to issue. You know what I'm saying? And we like fight for a cause for like 2 seconds, and then the next thing pops in our news feed, and we like all over that
microwave
shit.
generation.
Like seriously, like we don't have the attention span to really care about any fucking thing.
We're so out of touch
But that's
with the
so
actual...
like that's killing me. Like to hear my black men though, like around me saying
listen, but
fuck
it
it, that's
change.
just all we got. That's all we worth. That's all we are. Like that depresses the fuck out of me because I feel like we a lot more than that.
You're
like,
right. We are more than that, but it takes
and
action.
we should,
But the
based
thing is
on
that
how we got over here and what we've evolved to. Like there's, you know what I'm saying?
I feel you. I think we're so out of touch with the civil rights movement and the energy that went along with that whole movement that we get angry at these types of things and we don't know what to do. Everybody came to the rally at Malcolm X Park not knowing what they wanted to accomplish.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
I mean?
Because even with me wanting to ask the question tonight of like, what can we do? I don't even know what to say. Like, what we can do.
We don't have no leaders.
We don't have that.
We don't have that. I mean, let's be real.
All of our entertainers are not saying the things that need to be said.
Check this out. Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson been crying wolf for 30 fucking years or something. You know what I'm saying? They've been involved. Every time there's some kind of racial thing, they get up and say shit. And to be honest, I'm tired of hearing from these motherfuckers, man. They not saying nothing. Like they always like, oh yeah, we need it. This is absurd, and we need to change this and change that, and nothing's getting changed. Like nothing changes. Yeah, it's hot for a minute, and then the shit dies down, and it's back to life as normal.
Yeah.
But nothing's normal about our life. Nothing has been normal about our life from the time we were dragged over here.
But
so at what point do we as people take this shit a little bit more serious? Like we can all collectively sit here and I'm the only female up here and I'm listening to my black men around me saying like this all we got. You know what I'm saying? This is all we are. What happens at this point? What do we do so that history doesn't continue to repeat itself? What can we do to change any of this shit so that like my son, I ain't got to worry about my sons being shot down from going to the 7-Eleven to get a pack of Skittles. You know what I'm saying? Type shit. Like, what do we do? Where do we start?
Take care of us. That's
honestly, like, where do we start? Because I'm scared shitless for mine. I'm scared for myself just for being black and being vulnerable. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do we do?
This is the problem I see. The problem that I see is that white America controls all the businesses. They control all the media outlets. They control the politicians because they donate to their campaigns. Black people don't own shit. We don't have the money to back anything. Nothing gets changed without money behind it. I mean, we can protest, we can march, we can get outraged, we can. And what the fuck is this about looting? Like, somebody gets killed, and your solution is to loot innocent store owners that had nothing to do with the situation. So, in the midst of all this, you're gonna go ahead and steal? Like, it makes no sense. We can't control anything or change anything unless we get, like, some funding behind this. Like, we got to get the lobbyists on deck for our causes. We got to get the media outlets to show our side of the story. Like, until we get the money behind it, we're not going to change nothing.
And this is not shameless promotion. I mean this 100%. You know, this is an absolute business, another business that I run called Young Black Moguls. You know, along with my colleagues and partners that are in the building tonight. And one of the main goals is we are redefining the urban male. You know what I mean? But we are young, black, and professional at the end of the day. So, I mean, it starts with us. You know, if a cop pulls me over and sees me in a blazer and button up, he's going to be less aggressive 9 times out of 10. Now, that's not a foolproof system, but it goes with, like, every time I'm in an encounter with a white person or a person of another race that's prejudiced, it's an opportunity for me to change their perspective on the world around them.
That's
every
true.
single time.
If they give you the opportunity.
Every black man takes that responsibility seriously, then the world will progressively change.
True.
But because what happened to you with another black man or encounters you had with another black man, you now attribute that to me and how I might act. I've had countless encounters with police. I remember me and my friend here. I just bought a BMW, paper tags on it. They said I was speeding on 8th Street. Where can I speed on 8th Street? I don't know. I mean, it's lights everywhere. But anyway, the whole point is, jump outs, pull this out, pull guns out, the whole 9. Never ran my license, the whole 9. Searching for guns and drugs, found absolutely nothing. I hadn't been drinking, but the point is that although, like, what I wanted to address with Corporal. Yeah, said earlier, he said, well, if you're not doing nothing wrong, then what's the problem? Well, the problem is I'm being stopped.
But doing nothing wrong without doing anything wrong.
The problem is you stopped me before you would stop another white male in the same age range.
That was doing nothing wrong.
So I have to be randomly searched every time solely based on my description. I fit description. A very, 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 very serious situation happened to me. My father used to be the Dean of Arts at Georgia, at Duke Ellington. And I picked him up from school one day, and I was riding out, and all these black, the real Fed cars pulled out on us, blocked us in, 13, 14 cars. They said we fit the description. They said it was a red Jeep. My father drove a white Jeep.
Right.
And I was like, well, how does this fit the description? I followed every traffic law, and they just kept sending their apologies. The chief came over, our apologies, because they realized, okay, this person is the Dean of Arts at this school right here.
Right.
This could turn into a media nightmare. Let's kiss his ass now. But he understood it was profiling 101. At the end of the day, I don't fit your description.
Right.
The only thing that fits the description is I am black. They said a red Jeep. So why are you stopping a white Jeep that has a black man in it? I mean, there was a lot of discussion even when we started our organization in terms of, the black in our name, Young Black Mogul. I'm tired of us feeling like, and this is not white in the sense of skin color, but a concept. I'm tired of us feeling like white qualifies something as good or positive.
Correct.
You better talk.
Yes, I am a young black mogul.
Right.
That does not mean I don't like white people. That does not mean I'm not all inclusive with other races. But that's who I am, and that word alone should not be threatening.
Right.
That is an identifier. That's all it is.
Correct.
We're redefining the urban male, period.
Correct.
But we are young black men.
Right.
And if that's threatening alone by itself, then you need to readjust your perspective.
Right.
And it should be. The reason it is threatening is because we're all educated, young, motivated, and professional.
Right.
That's why it's scary. That's why it's a problem.
Right.
It's a threat. It appears as threatening because we came over here submissive because we had no choice.
Absolutely. But it starts with us doing it. It starts with us reprogramming ourselves of how we treat our women. You know, how we treat our neighborhoods, how we do everything. It has to start with us. Stop looking outward and start looking at yourself. I say this on Twitter all the time. Ask yourself, what have you done to change the world today?
Absolutely.
Ask yourself. If you can't answer that question every day, every week, then you can't complain about what's going on. Point blank.
Absolutely. Man, stay tuned, man. We're going to take 5 real quick. We got a lot. Listen, tensions in PUV are on 1,000 right now. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back.
Love it.